Well, hello everybody, and welcome again to Universal Magic with Janie. I just finished teaching a Reiki 1 course, and it was so much fun. It was such a wonderful day with so much great energy and a lot of positivity. And so instead of cleaning up and getting myself all cleaned up, I decided let's just go ahead and jump into this video because I'm feeling very inspired and very energetic right now. So this video, everyone, we're going to be concentrating on the 7 layers of the energy field. Now, remember last video we talked about energy, what it is, what it does, why it's so important, and I did mention that there are 7 layers to our energy field. Now, one of the things to really think about is that when we're talking about these different layers, the layers are not stacked up one right after the other. All right, all of our layers actually interact with each other, and all of our energy just really free flows between all of these different layers. So when we take a look at pictures about our energy fields, and this is the book I recommended last week to you, everybody, Light Emerging. There's some really beautiful pictures in here, and so this is what I want to show you, is that when we take a look, this is what our energy fields actually are. Our energy fields are very much interacting with each other. They really keep each field very healthy because energy has to flow from one field to the other. So let's get into describing these different layers, everybody. First of all, layer 1 is the etheric body. Now, a lot of times when people start looking at auras or practicing to see the energy fields, this is the layer that most people see first. Now, don't let it fool you though, because a lot of times people can say, oh, I'm seeing a lot of darkness in someone's energy field. Well, that's because the etheric layer, the etheric body, is dark. It's almost kind of like a shadow image of the person. It's sitting very close to their physical body. So this layer is just extending 1/4 to 2 inches away from the physical body. It kind of moves as the body moves. It really is shadowing the physical body. So when we are taking a look at the etheric body, this is a very important layer. The reason that is so important is because of the fact that this is the layer that's kind of like a tendon between the rest of your energy fields and your physical body. It's holding that connection that connects you physically to your energy. All right? This layer is also very important because last week we were talking about the fact that it's actually been known that a lot of diseases that affect the physical body actually happen in the energy fields first. So this etheric body is actually your last layer of defense before something an infection, some negativity that causes some energy problems within the physical body, stress that can cause illnesses to the physical body. It says that this layer is basically your last line of defense. And so it's very important to keep this layer very strong. You can keep it strong by doing exercises, by doing a lot of deep breathing techniques. That's a great way to keep this layer very strong so that you won't have any basic physical ailments occurring more often. All right? Our next layer is the emotional body. Now, this one is extending, like I said, it's all the great energy from today. This layer is extending 1 to 3 inches out from the body. The emotional layer is exactly what it tells you. This is where we are holding all of our emotions. Do you remember, everybody, that our energy fields hold everything about us? Our energy fields hold our past, present, and future. Our energy fields hold every emotion that we have, every thought that we have. It holds every memory, every past life, everything about us. Emotions are very important to us. We are meant to be emotional beings. The reason for that is that that's where we get our inspiration. That's where we have our creativity. That's where we actually really define who we are as human beings. Emotions move energy. So our emotional level of our energy fields are incredibly important. Now, this layer has a lot of color in it. It has all the colors that you can imagine. Those of you who actually requested a handout from me last time, if you take a look at the back of that handout, it lists all the colors and what the colors actually mean. because this layer is so active, because all of us are feeling something every single minute, right? This layer is so active, it changes constantly, so it's constantly changing color. And because it's the most vivid layer, that when people do begin to see colors in someone's energy field, it's usually the emotional layer that they're seeing. And so if you're seeing blue around somebody, blue is the color for peacefulness, for calmness. If you're seeing red in someone's energy, this could either mean angry, or it could also mean just being very passionate. So there's a lot of different colors that can come up within this field. The emotion body tends to be the most active just because of the fact, like we said, we're just all very emotional beings. Now, the next layer, the third layer, is the mental body. And this one extends 3 to 8 inches out from the body. Now, every time we have a thought, every time we are reading, we are learning, we are studying, if you are listening to this video and taking in all of this information, then this third layer, the mental body, is being very active right now. Now, this layer is usually yellow. So whenever you see yellow around somebody, it's actually letting you know that they're thinking, that they're learning. Yellow is always the color of learning. The problem, though, is this. How many of us are really bad about overthinking things? Okay, I tend to be one of those people. I tend to overthink everything. I tend to stress, I tend to get anxious, I tend to worry, I tend to play the what if game all the time. So I'm trying to learn to calm myself down, to de-stress, to not overthink everything. The problem with that is that, do you remember that this field holding every thought that you have and all of your learning and all of your studying, this layer can actually become damaged if we keep overthinking things so much, overstressing things. So it's a good idea to find ways to help you de-stress, to let go of tension, all right? So that this layer can calm down a little bit. Now, our next layer, the fourth layer extends 6 inches to 1 foot out from our physical body. But remember what we said, if it's extending out from the physical body, it's interacting with all of those other layers as it's extending out. So this layer is incredibly important. This is known as the astral body. And being the fourth layer, if we have 7 layers of our energy field, this fourth layer is the midway point. All right, so this fourth layer is kind of the gateway between our other layers. It's actually been said that our 3 lower layers are about our physical body. The 3 lower layers are about our life on earth. The 3 upper layers are our spirituality. The 3 upper layers are about our life in heaven, on the other side, in the universe, however you see it. All right, so this layer 4 is actually the go-between between our life on earth and our life on the other side. So this layer is, like I said, the gateway that's keeping the energy moving back and forth between all of those layers. Now, this layer also has other activities as well too. First of all, it's where we feel our love. It's where we feel our passion. It's where we have our relationships with other people. It's where we really feel the I, thou concept. And when we say the I, thou concept, what we mean is that it's really where we're understanding you and me, how we interconnect, how we work together, what is our relationship together. This is why it can be said, if we take a look again at our book, Light Emerging, at this picture right here. All right, so as you can see right here, everyone, what actually happens is that when you feel connected to another person, this layer actually opens up and extends so that it meshes with the fourth layer of the other person, so that you really feel very connected to other people. Now, the problem with this, though, is that this is why breakups can be so difficult and so painful. This is why when you lose someone you love, it can hurt so much, because it's not just being apart from that person physically, but it's also because you're cutting through that energy. You're cutting through that energy to release this other person. So that's why it can be so painful to lose someone you love That's why breakups can be so hard on us emotionally, energetically, spiritually, because we're severing that energy. All right? Now, our next layer is the fifth layer. The fifth layer is known as our etheric template layer. Now, the etheric template layer comes out 1.5 feet to 2 feet away from our physical body. Now, this layer is an undefined color. The reason that this layer, I'm like a mess from that class. Anyway, that layer is an undefined color. The reason it's an undefined color is just simply because of the fact that this is the layer where we start manifesting what we want in our life. So we can manifest any color that we want. We can create this layer to be whatever we want it to be. That's why it's undefined. This is where we start putting thoughts into forms, and ideas that we have, we start making them happen. So that's why this layer is so important. This layer also holds the blueprint for our physical bodies. So this is where actually our spirit matches up with our DNA and creates our physical bodies as well too. This is also the layer where we begin to understand what divine will is and what free will actually is. This is where we begin to understand our purpose here on earth, and we begin to see an order to things. You hear that saying, people saying everything happens for a reason. Well, sometimes yes, sometimes no. But it's actually in this layer where you begin to understand those ideas. All right? Now, our next layer is the sixth layer, and the sixth layer is our celestial body layer. Now, this one is extending very far out. This one is going out 2 feet to 3.25 feet away from our physical body. This layer has all of the colors of the rainbow. So this layer is really running the light spectrum and is really shining out all of these different colors. This is the layer where we experience enlightenment. This is the layer where we are opening up to our intuition. This is the layer where we feel higher vibrations on everything. So this is also the layer, because we're feeling those higher vibrations and because we're coming into enlightenment, this is also the layer where we begin to understand divine spiritual love. Now, I mentioned love in the fourth layer, where we feel that connection with other people, and that's very true. But it's in this layer, the sixth layer, the celestial body, that we're transcending all of our physical, sexual needs, and we're loving somebody on a very spiritual level. It's the fact that we are connected to this person through all eternity and throughout the universe. All right? This is why I get a little bit irritated when I hear people talk about platonic relationships. People will say, oh, it's just a platonic relationship, we're just casual friends, no sex. That's not what it means. The word platonic actually means. The word platonic is coming from Plato Platonic. Platonic is actually referring to Plato's ladder of love. And what Plato actually said is that when you first meet somebody, you love this person on a physical level. You first are attracted to them physically. After that, you may be attracted to them sexually. After that, you may be attracted to them emotionally or feel like an emotional connection. And then you go to a mental connection. And then at the very top of Plato's ladder of love is that spiritual connection. What that actually means is when we say a relationship is platonic, it actually means you have a spiritual love for this person that transcends anything on earth. So when you say you're in a platonic relationship, what you're actually saying is that this is the person that you love throughout eternity. This is the person that you want to spend all of eternity with. All right? So that's what it actually means. But people kind of got hooked on that no sex idea, and they use platonic to just describe casual relationships. That's not what it means. And so when we talk about platonic, that spiritual love that you can transcend earthly desires for this person, that's what we're talking about in the celestial body. All right? Now, the last layer, layer 7, is the Ketheric or causal body. And this is extending 2 feet to 3.5 feet. This layer is golden. And the reason that is so incredibly important to think about this layer being golden is because gold is actually the color of higher vibration. Gold is color of divine. And so when we talk about this being the golden layer, the Catheric or causal body, this is actually where we feel very connected to God. This is where we feel very connected to the universe. This is where we feel as if our energy is one with all of nature and all living things. We feel very connected. We can actually, if we really concentrate on using this level, we can actually speak to each other telepathically, right? We wouldn't even have to use words because we are just so connected to all things. All right, so this layer is incredibly important because this layer is where you are part of the divine mind. All right, I think all of us strive to reach that level, to have those moments of enlightenment, to reach out for understanding and insight. But can we do it all in one lifetime? Okay. We just keep growing in every single lifetime, and we'll talk about that more when we have a class on past lives, which will be coming up soon. All right, because that's one of my favorite topics. I do past life regressions now, and it's just an amazing experience to explore past lives. So we do take many lives to actually reach this level of having this full connection with the universe. Now, I have a couple of people ask me about seeing auras. That's something I think people get very fascinated with, is can you see auras? I've been basically training myself to see auras for a very long time, and you can do it too, all right? Like I told you last time, just take yourself out to some place where there are a lot of people around. Just people watch. Sit there and people watch. And keep the thought in your mind that all of us are divine light and divine energy. And sit there and watch people and see if you can just see a spark of light in each person that you see going by you. Now, if you really want to practice seeing auras, you can try it on yourself first. Got to get a piece of white paper. White is very good because white really can help you see colors. Now, just go ahead and lay the paper down. One of the things that can be a little tricky about this is making sure you're not somewhere where there's a lot of shadows coming in. But what you would do is take some really nice long deep breaths. You can use your index fingers or you can use all of your fingers. But you would just hold your fingers over the paper. Take some nice long deep breaths as you look at your fingers. So if I'm holding my index fingers together, I would just watch my fingers, taking nice long deep breaths. And then after I look at my fingers, I'm going to close my eyes. Now, when I open my eyes again, I'm going to open my eyes just kind of like halfway. Open your eyes as if you're just very, very tired. This actually will throw off your gaze. So you're not looking directly at your fingers, you end up looking beyond your fingers when you do that. So I'm going to close my eyes. After looking at my fingers for a moment, I'm going to close my eyes, take some nice long deep breaths, and then kind of halfway open my eyes as if I'm very tired. And as I do that, I'm going to start moving my fingers very slowly apart. And I'm going to see if I can see any flashes of light, any sparks. A lot of times what people will see are like energy strands or energy strings, where they actually will see like almost like a thread that will stretch between their fingers. This is a good way to start practicing, everybody, for seeing auras. If you then would like to try it but with another person, very same concept. Ask the person to stand up against a wall that is white. A lot of times, see, that's where you have to be careful, especially if the person is wearing very bright colors, because it leaves an imprint on your retinas, and then you're not really quite sure if you're seeing the aura, if you're seeing an imprint. Okay, but it's really good to have someone against a white wall and maybe in a white T-shirt. All right, close your eyes. Well, I keep forgetting. Look at the person first. Take a couple of seconds to get a real good impression looking at them physically first. Close your eyes for a moment. Take several nice long deep breaths. And then slowly open your eyes. Were you feeling a little tired? And look at the person and see what you see. Okay? Now remember, do not expect like these huge flashes of color first time you try that. Okay? You'll probably just see the etheric the etheric body first, just the shadow outline of someone first. You may see a few sparks of light, but it does take practice. Remember what we said in the last video, okay? Remember what we said in the last video. You have to believe first and then you see. It's not seeing first and then believing. All right? Believe first and then you see. So our layers of the energy field. Etheric body. The first layer, shadow, it's the tendon holding all of your energy together to your physical body and your last line of defense from any energetic illnesses or diseases. Layer 2, the emotional body. This is where you have all of your emotions, and it's changing very, very fast because of all the emotions that you're feeling. It's flashing with a lot of color. It's probably, if you begin to see color, what you're going to see first. The third body, the mental body, all your thoughts are here. All of your studying, learning, growing is here, all right? Yellow, because yellow is the color of learning. Fourth layer, our astral body. Remember, our astral body is that layer where we hold our love, where we hold our relationships, our connections to other people. It's the gateway between all of our layers. Fifth body, the etheric template. Now, the etheric template, remember, is where we are manifesting. This is where we're taking thought into form. We are manifesting our lives. We are understanding free will and divine will. Layer 6, again, all of that energy, everybody. Layer 6, the celestial body. This is actually, remember, where we begin to experience enlightenment. We are into a higher vibration. This is where we can really feel that silent meditation, all right? This is where we feel our spiritual love, and we feel that beautiful spiritual connection, the platonic love for another person. Then we have layer 7, which is our etheric or causal layer, and this layer is golden. Remember, everybody, this is the layer where we feel completely connected to God, to the universe, to all the divine, to nature. This is where we experience that full oneness with all things. All right, everybody? I got a story for you, too. I'm going to finish up with a story. I love telling stories. I'm the type of person where I could sit up all night with someone and just talk about ghost stories and strange occurrences that have happened. So I'm going to tell you this one. I'm going to end this class on this story. All right. One day I'm teaching a class on energy, and I was teaching at a massage school down in Nashville, Tennessee. Well, the director of the school asked me if I would go up to the school in Bowling Green, Kentucky to teach the energy class. I was really excited about it. Bowling Green, Kentucky, here I come. Couldn't wait to get there. But when other instructors found out I was going, they were coming up to me saying, "Oh God, please be careful. Oh my gosh, watch yourself. Oh my gosh, let me know if you need any help." And I'm like, what is going on? Well, it wasn't until I actually got up to that school that I found out it was haunted. Lots of strange occurrences happened in that school. Because what the owner of the school actually did was she took a very old house, and it was a beautiful house. She took a very old house and turned it into the school. And so during class, I was hearing all kinds of things. Like we could hear footsteps, like somebody walking around upstairs or coming down the steps. The lights would flicker on and off. All of these usual haunted house kind of things happening. So I was teaching the students about energy. I was teaching them about looking at each other's auras. And the only really white wall we could find was right next to the doorway of what we called the spirit room. Now, the reason we called it the spirit room is because it seemed like there was a lot of activity taking place in that room. So we called it the spirit room, but the only white wall we could find was right next to the doorway into the spirit room. So I was showing the students how to read energy and how to see auras, and I instructed them about looking at the person, closing their eyes, taking deep breaths, and opening their eyes. It was great. I went ahead and dismissed the class for lunch. Now, when I dismissed the class, I actually went into the spirit room. I went to the spirit room. When I sat in the spirit room, and I said, "Please know that we love you. We're not here to hurt you. We're here to learn. And we're not going to do anything to hurt you. We love you." Students came back from lunch, and when they came back, they said, "Jamie, can we see your aura?" I'm like, "Okay, I guess it's my turn. All right." So I go over and I stand up against the wall, and the entryway to the spirit room is right here. I'm standing against the wall, and I tell the students, "Now look at me physically. Close your eyes." Students looked at me. They closed their eyes. All of a sudden, this side of my body, here's the door right here, this side of the body began to tingle. I was like, what is that? I could feel like this just like I was being shocked. I kept feeling like all of this energy is coming down my shoulders, down the side of my body. I'm like, what is that? Next thing I know, I could feel my hair moving out this way. I'm like, what is going on? And it was so intense, it was just not my hair here, but I could even feel like these little hairs back here beginning to pull out this way, like static electricity or whatever. I was like, what is that? What is going on? But I tried to stay calm in front of my students. So I said, everybody take a deep breath. Now when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. And as my students opened their eyes, 7 out of 10 of my students started screaming. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Because they're screaming and they're hysterical. And I'm jumped forward away from the wall. And I was like, what happened? What's going on? And all of the 7 students said, Jamie, we saw a man standing behind you. What are you talking about? We saw a man standing behind you. And one student went up and she drew it on the board. She said, okay, here's your body. And she drew like my head and shoulders. Here's your body. And this man was standing right behind you right here. 7 of my students said they saw him. What freaked me out about it, for me, is that where they said they saw that man standing behind me was the very same area where I felt my hair going out this way. So he must have been standing right here, right by my shoulder. Okay? Okay. Well, I got a lot more stories to share with you all. So please stay tuned. Next week I'm actually going to be in Springfield, Missouri Fair, everybody. The Natural Holistic Fair. Please, everybody, keep that in mind. Come to the fair. It'll be a lot of fun in Springfield, Missouri. It's at the Shrine Mosque. The weekend after that, I'm going to be in Des Moines, Iowa, at the Iowa Metaphysical Fair. So if you get a chance to get out to these fairs, if you're interested in them, please leave a comment, and I can give you that information, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for sitting through this video. Thank you, everybody, for all of your support. I've gotten some really great comments. I really appreciate everybody. Thank you, everybody, for just paying attention when I was going through all my flubs here. Again, everybody, I'm just really excited. It was such a great day with my Reiki class. I was having so much fun. So thank you, everybody, for being a part of this. Please subscribe, like, share this video. There's a lot more to come and a lot more we can talk about. And I'm so excited because really coming up very soon is I'm going to start doing interviews with people that I think you really are going to learn a lot from. So please stay tuned, everyone. Like, share, subscribe. I really appreciate all of you. I love you all. Have a great night, everybody. And now I'm going to try and meditate and calm myself down. Okay? Have a great night. Thank you. Bye-bye.